Last week, we went over the rules to Star Wars Unlimited's Twin Suns casual multiplayer format, and if you missed that, you can go and check this video out in the description below or right up here in the corner that will teach you all of the rules of this format that we are super excited about. Now, this week, I just want to go over 5 cards from Star Wars Unlimited's first set, Spark of Rebellion, that I think are going to have extra value in the Twin Suns format. These are either going to be cards that aren't necessarily super playable or cards you would immediately slot into most of your Premier format decks, but in Twin Suns, these are cards that you might immediately slot in and be excited about because they have some special extra value that maybe you weren't even necessarily thinking about. So let's jump into the list. Before I jump into the list, I want to mention that there were a kind of a class of cards that I didn't really include in the list. These are kind of the ones that are obviously just way better in a multiplayer format because they have effects that are like affect all players or all arenas. So cards like Smoke and Cinders, this is a card that is a 5-cost event that has each player discard all but 2 cards in their hand. Obviously, against 3 players instead of 1, that impacts everyone a lot more strongly. So, that kind of stuff is really good in multiplayer. Outmaneuver is another one, 3-cost event that lets you choose an arena, ground, or space and exhaust each unit in that arena. Obviously, you can easily just kind of line up all your units in one arena and then choose to exhaust everyone else's units on all their arenas and make it so it doesn't affect you quite as much as well. Very strong play to take the initiative, and then you can just like really slow down the pace of the game with that card. These kind of cards are just like, they clearly affect all players or each opponent or something, and they're obviously a lot better. The cards we're going to look at in our list are going to be not cards that are like that because those just felt a little too obvious to me. So let's start with our number 5 card. Our number 5 card is the Emperor's Legion. The Emperor's Legion is a 2-cost command and villainy event with return each unit in your discard pile that was defeated this phase to your hand. Allows you to take every unit that was defeated this phase back to your hand, and in Twin Suns, this has a number of really sweet implications. Now, as we just talked about, these cards that affect all opponents, things like Super Laser Blast or Bombing Run, might be even more played in those formats because there will be a lot of players who are just trying to kind of control the board and get to that late game state, and Emperor's Legion, you'll be able to time very well to get a lot of stuff back when you're not fighting so tooth and nail for control of the game. Additionally, because in Twin Suns, you have only 1 copy of each unit in your deck, each individual card you can only have 1 copy of, the Emperor's Legion can be saved to get very clutch units back when in Star Wars Unlimited, there aren't a lot of ways to get units back from the discard pile after they've been defeated. So the Emperor's Legion takes our number 5 spot because it is doing something that is hard to get and frankly is more powerful simply when you have particular units that would be more useful to save, like one that we'll show later on this list, and in a format where you will just have a little more availability to keep those resources ready because you're not constantly fighting over this zero-sum war with one other opponent. You can let your opponents fight things out a little bit, take it a little bit slower, and then you might find a time to use it. So that's our number 5 card, the Emperor's Legion. For our number 4, I am super excited about this one because this one is very near to my heart. This was the card that our very first preview card that we got to show off for Star Wars Unlimited, which is Repair. Repair is a 1-cost vigilance event with heal 3 damage from a unit or base. This card is just so unassuming, and in Premier, honestly, most of the time you're not going to be slotting this in, like maybe in like Cheer It decks, a copy or 2, I'm not sure, but in Twin Suns, what we found is 2 things. Number 1, the winner of the Twin Suns game is the player on the final turn of the game after one player has been eliminated who has the most HP remaining. Repair is such a cheeky way to completely throw the math out of not just you winning the game necessarily, but if you really want to, you can heal 3 damage from any unit or any base. That ability to target opponents' bases as well can be a really goofy kind of like king-making moment if you need to, but you can use it politically as well. You can say, hey, if you attack me, I'm going to repair Jerry's base over there, and Jerry then is going to win the game. So sorry, Susie, you got to stay away from me if you want to win the game. Those political plays are going to be a huge thing in Twin Suns. Additionally, With Twin Suns, with 2 leaders, you have more opportunities, more important units that you're going to want to repair. With only 1 copy of some of the best units in your deck, maybe you don't want to lose your home 1, your legendary Luke Skywalker. Having that repair actually can be really clutch to keep them alive when otherwise they wouldn't. Sentinels you need to protect. There are a lot of like random uses to repair, but I especially think keeping those leaders that you're building your deck around alive and then using it at the very end of the game, either to steal the game yourself by healing your own base or as a political tool to try and change the outcome of the game in a way that is maybe ultimately favorable for you. It's a very cool card at a very low cost. You have to put singletons in anyway, so it's not too hard to find a slot for this in your deck, at least in this current Set 1 Twin Suns metagame. So that is our number 4 card, surprisingly useful card in Twin Suns, Repair. Now our number 3 card is a fairly expensive card, but a super, super fun one in Twin Suns. This is I Had No Choice, a Cunning and Villainy event with a 7 cost. It allows you to choose up to 2 non-leader units. An opponent chooses one of those units, return that unit to its owner's hand, and put the other on the bottom of its owner's deck. Now, you have to really think about the multiplayer format for where this card gets politically very interesting and fun. You can choose 2 non-leader units controlled by any player, any players, and then an opponent of your choice, doesn't even have to be the controller of any of those, gets to choose one of those units to return to its owner's hand, and the other one goes on the bottom of its owner's deck. There are definitely ways to go, hey, look, Susie, you and I, we need to win this game. So to win this game, we need to return this unit to my hand so that I can play it again, and we need to get that thing at the bottom of its deck. So I'm going to target these 2 units, and then, Susie, why don't you choose which one goes to my hand? You can do all that kind of fun kind of political action stuff with multiple players. It just gets a lot more exciting to be able to maybe choose 2 opponents' things and then choose the third player and say, hey, what do you want to do with those? Like who gets what? That kind of stuff is a lot more exciting. Makes this card a lot more fun to play, and it can be quite impactful on the game, just more flexible card than it normally is. That kind of card always ends up being my favorite in these games. I love getting to get everybody involved and talking at the table and making these kind of back alley deals and backstabbing and everything. So I love that, and it's perfect with Lando on the card as well. Very flavorful choice. I Had No Choice. That is my number 3 choice, which I did have a choice in, but that is where it is, number 3 on our list of awesome Twin Suns cards. Our number 2 card is an extremely thematic, kind of everyone's favorite card when they play the starter deck games, event called I Am Your Father, 3 cost, villainy only event with deal 7 damage to an enemy unit unless its controller says no. If they do, draw 3 cards. This event is normally in Premier, not a very good card. Your opponent is always going to select the option that is best for them. One of those 2 options, either you draw 3 or they take 7 on their unit, is definitely better for them to see happen. They'll always choose the one that is the outcome that you would prefer not to see. But in Twin Suns, the reason I like this a lot is because as a 3 cost, generally draw 3 type effect, as if that's the high value play on it, that is going to be a lot easier to get the draw 3 off of when you have more opponents to target who are worried about not just you, but the other opponents around the table. To them, having one opponent draw 3 is not as bad as like everyone drawing multiple cards or something. So as long as you can just talk to your opponents, maybe target something where you go, hey, I know you really want to keep that thing. Do you really want to keep that? I just want to draw some cards. I'm just going to target this if that's okay. And if you let me, I will draw some cards. Again, sort of making deals, making friends, using I'm Your Father to just get a 3 cost draw 3 is a great value, especially in Twin Suns when, again, you're not always fighting so tooth and nail, tug of war, pushing with one other player like you are in the constructed Premier game. It's more of a, you can kind of sit around. Though if you aren't doing as much, you're not getting targeted as much. And when you're just going to sit there in the early game and just kind of like, yeah, I'm just going to target this thing, I'm going to draw a few cards, that can often lead you into a much stronger late game. So I like this card a ton for Twin Suns. It is going to slot into basically every villainy Twin Suns deck I make for a long time because it is just such solid value and so flexible and easy to play. So that's our number 2 card, I am your father. All right, now let me tell you about my number 1 card in Twin Suns that I really think you need to be slotting in your decks because it is quite strong in this format and it is, again, quite flexible and easy to fit in. It is Wolf. Wolf annoyed me so much when we were playing Twin Suns all day at the celebration event. 2 cost, aggression only, 3/2, unit with Saboteur, which is really great. Doesn't have to crash into Sentinels ever. And that's critical because his ability is when played / on attack, bases can't be healed for this phase. You need to be able to attack someone cleanly with Wolf, and Saboteur means he has no end of decent targets. The turn you play him, and every turn that Wolf is out there, bases can't be healed for this phase. Because the endgame condition involves having the least damage on your base or the most health remaining, specifically the most health remaining, this ability to prevent healing can be just extremely obnoxious and totally flip the script on some of your opponent's plans. We already talked about Repair being a card I think is really good. There's some other very obviously good cards to heal with, like Redemption, like Home 1, like Luke Skywalker Legendary. And these cards get a lot less appealing when your opponents keep making it so that you cannot heal on your base. But it's not just the cards, everyone. Keep in mind that in Twin Suns, when you knock another player out, you heal 5 damage from your base. This will prevent the game action of healing from destroying an opponent's base as well, which means if your opponent is out there getting ready to try and do a double attack with Leia, take out 2 opponents, and you drop that Wolf suddenly, hang on, cannot go for it this turn. I'm going to have to wait for a future turn. Wolf is such an annoying card, such a beast of a card, and dropping him with some Sentinels in play or something can make him very resilient, very annoying to try and get rid of, and back it up with something like the Emperor's Legion as well to keep getting him back. Oh man, super frustrating for anyone who's really trying to focus on healing their base or trying to get very aggressive at the end game and eke out that win with that base healing from knocking an opponent out. Wolf is an incredible Twin Suns card. I think one you're going to see for a very long time. He's good and constructed too, but a little more dependent on who you are playing against. In Twin Suns, everyone has access to healing because of that game rule, and a lot of players with 3 aspects in their deck, whether it's Vigilance or Command, you're probably going to be picking some cards that might have the ability to heal your base until we start going into more decks that are like double 1 aspect and then 1 of another. But it's just, healing is common enough in this format because of all that, where Wolf should just be slotted. And you're playing an aggression deck, you should put Wolf in it. If you have an aggression list built and you don't have Wolf in it, you should probably put Wolf in it. Though I think he's going to be a Twin Suns all-star for a long time to come. So that is our number 1 Twin Suns card that you probably should be playing, better than you might think, Wolf. So everyone, that is our list. Those are our top 5 Twin Suns cards that we think you should definitely be thinking about that get some extra value in the Twin Suns format beyond their value in the Premier format. I hope you guys found that interesting. Let me know, what are your picks? What did I miss? What cards do you think should be played all the time in Twin Suns from Spark of Rebellion? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Hope you enjoyed that one. We'll have more Star Wars Unlimited content coming very soon because the pre-release is right around the corner. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.